to the show. This is The Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zaman. Let's get on with the news, the views, the reviews, and interviews. In fact, this will be a special edition because this is about Maul, Shadow Lord, the review for episode 1 and 2. That's all we're going to do today, episode 1 and 2. So let me start off. It does drop at 5 p.m. in Melbourne, Australia. Melbourne, Australia, 5 p.m. Mondays. And for America, let's say the West Coast, it's midnight. So that seems to be what we're going to get every week on a Monday. So 5 p.m. In Melbourne, Australia, and midnight in LA. So let's get right into episode 1. Episode 1, straight off the bat, 9 out of 10. You know, it was no more and no less than what we were sort of getting in the trailers, the preview. In fact, a lot of episode 1 was used as visual images in the trailers. Lots of the sections of episode 1 we had seen already in trailers and in advertising and things, you know, little shorts and stuff like that. 9 out of 10. The only thing I'm going to say is the two parts that I get a bit annoyed with this type of animation is that the action, especially the lightsaber action, it's so intense. It's a little bit hard to make out what's really going on. It's a great intensity of action, but it's a little bit intense. The only other thing I thought was not the best was the actual automobiles, if you were to think, or the land speeders or the city speeders, whatever you want to call them. A bit too boxy, a bit too and inventive. Nothing great to sort of. For the eye, not really much of an eye candy, just pretty straightforward type of stuff. That could be the reason, what they're after, something that is not eye candy. But I thought it was, the design was just a bit boxy and a bit boring. But the art, to be honest, it's a little bit, you're sort of a bit aware of it. But I thought it was, great. It suits the whole sort of thing. And the entrances, a couple of entrances that Maul had, was reminiscent of other entities in Star Wars that we've sort of seen. We've seen a Darth Vader entrance in Rogue One. We've seen, Luke Skywalker come in the Mandalorian series, season 2, the last episode in a similar sort of way. But yeah, good action. Good story, sort of ideas. I wouldn't say it's completely original, but it's definitely that crime, underworld sort of feel that we've all been waiting for as Star Wars fans, and I think it really has paid off with this episode. So the episode 1, 9 out of 10. Episode 2. Episode 2 was a bit of a carry-on. It carried on from episode 1, that's what I mean. Straight off the bat, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. It was obviously the action was a bit less. The story plot was a bit less, and the ending in this particular one was not really. I believe that. Look, if you're going to do streaming TV series in today's market, let's say. You need to have some sort of cliffhanger, and both of these didn't really have cliffhangers. The first episode sort of did. It sort of, it was introduced, there was a bit of fear in that Jedi's eyes when she said Maul, but it was not a real cliffhanger. I think episode 2 of the 2 episodes that we got in the 1 week should have had a bit of a cliffhanger, sort of anticipation of what's happening for next week. Even though it is, I'm eager to see what happens next week, but there's no anticipation like what what's going to happen, what's why, when, how, from the cliffhanger. There was no real cliffhanger. That's why it loses probably a bit of an extra point. I mean, look, the second episode doesn't have to be as great of action and story as the first, but that one really did need more of a ending, a poignant ending. That's what I think. But it is definitely no more than no less than what we expected. We being Star Wars fans, we being just me, let's say, it really did deliver in its promise through the trailers, the idea of this particular series. Yeah, so I am pretty excited at the moment, but at the same time, just wanting a bit more of a cliffhanger sort of feel to especially the second episodes of what we're going to get, because we're pretty much going to get 2 episodes a week for the next, I think 4 or 5 weeks, leading up to May the 4th. Can you believe it? That will be the last episode. May the 4th be with you. But anyway, and I think also this is the type of series that a non-Star Wars fan can actually sort of come into something and sort of get a sort of doesn't need a whole lot of backstory, but will probably want a lot of backstory of the why, when, and how about Maul and stuff like that. But it does sort of come in a way where you can just sort of know who the bad guy is, know what really his ideals are, being a leader of a crime syndicate, his evil sort of plots and stuff like that. So it does work even if you're not a Star Wars fan. But anyway, that is my review on episode 1 and episode 2 of Maul Shadow Lord. I will be definitely bringing you more next week on that, and I will definitely be coming back, for more episodes during the week. Subscribe to the channel, The Force Always. I'm here 3 or 4 times a week with the news, the views, the reviews, and interviews of all sorts. Like and share. Send me a message. Message could be just a comment. It could be a question. It could be a trivia question. I'm not Mr. Trivia, but let's give it a shot. Anyway, until next time, my friends, keep rocking.